Lots of party planners really want to have people join their business, and they might be as keen as anything, but actually just find it really difficult to do. And it's something that I found quite difficult. So I realized that there were three things I really needed to sort out before I could make progress in this area, and it actually had nothing to do with other people. It was all to do with me. So the first thing was that I needed to actually be doing it. I found it difficult to recruit because I didn't have anything to talk about. I was having trouble getting bookings, my sales were not good, and I didn't have anything to share with anyone that would actually be exciting. So I felt that it was important that I had some sort of integrity around what I was talking about, and I could only do this if I was actually making money myself. So before you can even talk about recruiting anybody, you need to work on being successful in your basic business. Now, just have a quick look and do a quick count up of how many parties you've got coming up in the next 3 weeks. Now, I believe if you want to start recruiting really well, that you need to be trying or attempting to do 3 parties a week. And the reason for that is that when you're doing 3 a week, you'll be earning good money. You can't talk to somebody else about fabulous money and rewards if you're not receiving any of it yourself. So that's just something to think of. You know, if you're at the moment you've only got 1 or 3 parties coming up in the next 3 weeks, you might want to just try and increase that to 2 a week. But if you want to build a team, you want to get on the leadership track, and you want the business to start to take off, you have to lift the program and start to make some good money. Now, another challenge was that recruiting is actually quite scary. So I had to overcome and being brave enough to actually talk about it. And I was extremely shy, and I know that not every party planner is very shy, but a lot are. So you might not relate to somebody who's very shy and scared to talk about it, but you might, if you're a leader, you probably have people like this in your team anyway, so it's good to be able to understand people. So recruiting didn't come naturally, and I had to find ways of being able to do it without actually wanting the ground to open up and swallow me, which is kind of how I felt in the beginning. So I developed a whole lot of tools, and I found different ways of being able to approach the subject and talk to people. And through that I was able to help a lot of people in my team who were just like me. So people who otherwise would have found it very difficult to recruit started being able to recruit. So what I found was that once I knew what I wanted to say and I knew how I wanted to say it, that was most of the work done. The only last thing left to do was to be brave enough to be able to open my mouth. Now, the funny thing was that because I had prepared everything, which I mean, if you can relate to being a bit shy, this is an important step, is being prepared. And I actually found that when I did open my mouth, it was never really all that scary. It was way scarier in my head than it was in real life, and people were actually very willing to listen to what I had to say. The third thing that I wanted to get over was my fear of being annoying. You know, direct selling has got a bit of a reputation in certain parts for being full of people who are pushy and irritating when talking about their business. And it's a shame, because there are lots and lots of us who are not like that at all, but 1 or 2 people that are pushy and annoying kind of tar the rest of us with the same brush sometimes. So it was really important to me that I was not pushy, and instead of trying to sign people up, what I more did was offer an invitation for them just to have a look at what I had. Now, it didn't matter to me if they looked at the business or not. It just mattered that they knew there was an invitation there. So I wasn't then going out trying to sign people up. I was actually just going out there letting people know that if they wanted to, there was something they could look at, and that kind of changed it for me. And I got lots of comments about how it was really nice that nobody felt pushed into anything. So I know that from talking to a lot of party planners around Australia and New Zealand, that this is a really big thing, that they really want to not come across as pushy. So everything we're going to be doing in this series over the next few weeks revolves around us being able to open our mouths and talk to people that is not in a way that's not annoying, not uncomfortable for us or the people we're talking to. The first thing on this list, the doing it part, we're not going to cover in this series. The showing success and making money part, you need to sort out separately, but we're going to work on the other two bits. Now, before we can recruit as well, once we've sort of got over thinking about those things we've just been talking about, we need to think about really why do we want to recruit, and not everybody's actually spent much time thinking of this. Recruiting, there has to be something in it for us. We're not doing it for charity or for love. We're actually doing it for certain reasons. So with so many reasons to introduce your company to people, isn't it interesting that we don't do it as much as we would like to? In fact, I often think of this business being one of the best kept secrets around, even though it's something that's enriched our lives and it excites us and we love it. It's really funny that we probably don't share it as much as we could, and there must be a reason for that. So let's have a think about what is it that's stopping us? What's stopping us from recruiting as many people as we would like to? Now, one of the ones which I also think is quite important, or is very important, is the fear of success, because the fear of success actually can get in our way just as much as fear of any of these other things can. And we can actually be scared of success because for several reasons. Maybe we're worried we're not going to be able to live up to the new bar that we've set, or maybe we're scared of success because we get attached to our old excuses. You know, we've all got excuses that we use, and we get quite attached to them. We don't really want to let go of them. So if we become successful, we might not be able to use them anymore because they won't be relevant anymore. Now, we don't necessarily know that this is how we're thinking, but if you think about, do you ever sabotage yourself? Do you procrastinate and put things off? Are you quite disorganized? These are actually things that can show up a fear of our own success. So it's quite interesting when you think about it. We're actually just getting in our own way, and it may not be the reason that we think. So whatever the reason is for the fear, it's really hard work to just be able to talk ourselves out of being scared. And actually, to be honest, it's not likely to work. You can talk yourself out of it as much as you want. You can tell yourself you're being silly, but it's actually not going to make any difference. So, well, I don't believe it is. So really all we can do is acknowledge that we're a bit scared and take a deep breath and have a go. And honestly, there's no such thing as being brave if you haven't got fear, because if you haven't got fear, you don't need to be brave. So being brave and courageous is a good thing. Now, what you'll find when you have a go is that it's never as bad as you thought it was going to be. And I'm sure all of us in our lives have had times when we were really worried about something, not necessarily about our business. We were really scared about a conversation we had to have, or we were scared about doing something. And in our head, it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when we actually did it, it wasn't as bad as we thought. So it's the way that fear normally goes. And you might have read, somewhere I read, fear stands for false evidence appearing real, because it's not true. It's really an imagination thing. So if you do have a problem with this, I recommend a book that it's one of the best books ever. It's called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, and it's by Susan Jeffers. It's a classic. It's been around for ages, so you might have already seen it. I think it's a book that you could reread every few years. This book helps you understand the fear. It does not try to talk you out of it, because I don't think that works, but it does help you work with it. So I really think everyone should have a copy. So if you think that's going to be of any help, have a look at it. It's in all bookshops. It's also on our website if you can't find it in the bookshop.